Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss this problem. Let's begin the observation part. So if you observe one thing, we have absolute function in this question. Is it? Yes. And we know the definition of absolute function. That is, it will same as the value when it is going to be greater than 0. But if the value of x is less than 0, in that case it will open with a negative sign. Okay, so whenever we have some inequality and where you observe one thing that the functions are what piecewise defined, or you can say the function which changes its definition after certain intervals. So in that case we will be assuming the mod x as t here. Now let's begin the solution part, because we replace the absolute function with the t here. Okay, now if you observe in the denominator, clearly you can see it having the negative coefficient. That means we have to make it positive, because it's a rule whenever we solve the inequality here. Okay, so after taking the negative common, so you will have a negative sign here, but now you will see the inequality changes. Okay, why? Because we will multiply with a negative sign, and we know one rule: whenever you multiply with a negative quantity, what will happen? The inequality sign changes. Okay, now let's continue further. So if you observe one thing in this equation, that is the discriminant is less than 0 and value of a, that is coefficient of x square, and here we have the coefficient of t square, that is positive here. So what we can say, it always be positive. Why is it so? Because we know whenever the discriminant is negative, that means that it will never crosses the x-axis. Now how the graph of this will look like? It will look like this, because it will never crosses the x-axis, and if it never crosses the x-axis, that means it will have no real roots. Okay, now if you observe one thing, that it is in the form of a by b less than 0. Okay, we know one thing: if we have ratio a by b, in that case what you will say, that a and b must be of opposite sign here. Okay, and we define the sign of this because it always be positive. Now you have to say that this quantity need to be negative always, otherwise you will not get the answer, because we have a by b which is less than 0 here, and this quantity is positive, and I want to make overall quantity negative. So for that I need to say that a must be less than 0 here. Okay, now let's continue further. Now it is quite easy to factorize this one, and you will get these two factors here. Okay, now if you recall, in the wavy curve method, what you will do, that you will plot the critical point. So here it is t equals to 2, and we have t equal to -1. Now we will start with a positive sign, negative sign, and the positive sign. Okay, and what region we will include here, or interval you can say, that is negative part. Okay, that is going to be this region only. So here we will say the t must be between -1 and 2. Okay, now what we assume t earlier, that is absolute function of x here. Now we replace with this one, and if you recall the graph of absolute function, it is quite like this. Is it? Yes. Okay, now where it never be negative, and now you can surely say that the absolute function of x is always greater than -1. Okay, so what we have now, that the absolute function of x is less than 2 here, and we already know what will happen if we remove the modulus sign here. We will get x as greater than -2 and less than 2 here. For such videos you can subscribe to this channel. Thank you.